Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer. I'm going to be talking about Vitor Pereira today, who, if you believe the reports that are coming out, is set to become the next Everton manager. I'm going to be jumping a little bit into facts about the manager, talk about his preferred playing style, and a few other bits and bobs, talk about his history as well as a manager. And you know what? Also dive into why I think this is quite an exciting appointment for Everton Football Club. Guys, before I do, though, please follow what it says on our on screen. Hit that like button, and also please do subscribe to the channel if you are new here. So let's jump straight into it. Let's waste no more time. Now, this was an interesting one straight away. The preferred formation of Vitor Pereira, and he's took this wherever he's gone. I think there's always been a 3-4-3. He has at times developed that into a 3-4-1-2, depending on the players that he has had. But one thing that does stay evident, whether you want to call it a 5 at the back or a 3 at the back, is he does implement that 3 or 5 at the back formation, using his wing backs to get up the pitch, which actually would have really helped if Everton had kept hold of Lucas Digne, but that's behind now. It's something that's got to be forgotten about. But he will use those wing backs to advance up the pitch. And interestingly, he also uses the centre backs to get forward. He'll use the centre backs to get forward. It'll need ball playing centre backs. So coming to mind, obviously Mina, potentially Godfrey. I feel like they could do that role. I really do. I feel like that could fit quite well, to be honest. Maybe might take a little bit of coaching, but I do feel it's something that could work. And also, he actually uses the centre-backs to get forward in attack at times as well, especially the two wider centre-backs advancing up the pitch, almost teaming up with the wing-backs. What does that mean, though, is it does mean that a centre defensive midfielder does then need to slot back into the centre-back position. And that's one position where, to make this work, I do feel that Everton might have to have a bit of a look around in the summer to do that kind of a role. But and then going finally furthermore into his formation, he does then slip back into a 4-5-1 formation when defending. It's about a high press as well, a high press, not giving players the other opposition team too much time on the ball. And that is really something that, he's took wherever he has. And I don't think that's a bad thing for Everton Football Club, because I think the last previous managers have lacked an identity, especially Rafa Benitez. I really do feel that you couldn't really define what is Everton, how do Everton play. I feel Rafa himself mixed that way too much. He tried too much. Pereira has his way of playing, and that has to fit the club. It really does. And that's why sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't, as I will go into in more detail a bit later on in the video. His average term as manager has lasted 1.26 years. Some of those have been longer stints. I think his longest was actually in China, where he lasted over 1,000 days. And also with Porto at the early start of his career, where he lasted over 700 days. His second stint with Fenerbahce didn't exactly end well, and that was his last appointment, ending in December 2021. But there was reasons for that, and again, I will touch on that in the coming minutes. He likes to use youth players. No, I don't think this is a bad thing for Everton. You guys have got a few promising people coming through the academy and already breaking into the first team. The likes of Gordon, Braithwaite's another one that he might want to use. And I think, with the FFP situation, finding young talent, developing them through the academy is going to be a much more stable way for Everton Football Club to operate going forward than spending huge amounts on proven talent, which at the moment haven't really lived up to expectation as well. And he also says, one thing that has come up is a history of falling out with players. Now, that's not entirely accurate in some sense. One of the most famous fallouts he had, of course, was with Robin van Persie. But the thing is about this is I don't actually blame him, because Fenerbahce brought in Van Persie for quite a substantial amount for them anyway. And Van Persie was arguing that he was getting substituted. He wasn't being able to help the team. But Pereira's stance were, well, you haven't actually warranted not to be subbed. Your performances haven't actually been that up to scratch. And, that's where that kind of argument came from, really. I don't think that's a bad thing with Everton Football Club. I really don't. I think some of the players could do with a bit of a kick up the backside, to be honest, and a bit of, you've got to earn your place and you've got to want to play for Everton Football Club. So I don't really see that as a bad thing. And I think this narrative that he does fall out with players that seems to be emerging a little bit isn't technically true, or if it is true, it's not to say that he's actually to blame. So I don't see that as a bad thing. I really don't. I mean, the only thing I would say is obviously do Everton at the moment need a manager to come in and put a bit of an arm around the shoulder. I'm not too sure he'll be that kind of manager. You know, someone like Big Dunk's going to be that kind of manager. But that's not to say he won't be able to engage the players and get them up for the task ahead. Well, let's talk about the task ahead, because his previous clubs that he has managed, one of them, and the only one really that he has ever been in a relegation battle with, was Munich. Now, Everton aren't in a relegation battle yet, in my opinion. But if something doesn't kick into place after the international break, then you would argue that it's starting to get a bit sketchy. Unfortunately, the only relegation battle he has been in did result in relegation. But he has had some great successes. He's won Greek league with Olympiacos. He's won the league with Porto. He won that in back-to-back times, actually. I believe it was might have been 13, 14, 14, 15. The time's actually gone out of my head. He's also won the league in the Chinese Super League, as well as winning 3 domestic cups as well. One of those being in China, one in Greece, and also one in the Portuguese league as well. So this guy has been a bit of a serial winner. And of course, Fenerbahce, as I mentioned earlier, that one didn't quite work out for him. But there is a reason for that. He actually tried to implement this 5 at the back system at Fenerbahce. It wasn't something that they've actually had seen before. I think and although it kind of worked in other places, it worked well in the Chinese league. It worked well in Porto as well. With Fenerbahce, it didn't quite go to plan in his second time round with them. And that was one of his main downfalls, not wanting to change from that playing style. Of course, that isn't something that's prominent in the Turkish league, the 5 at the back, and especially with Fenerbahce. So you feel, in the English league, it's quite common, isn't it now, for a team to have 5 at the back. I don't really feel like the formation's going to be a problem for him, when coming to Everton. So, it's one of those. People are going to have mixed reviews about him. I've got a good feeling about him. I really do. He's been linked with the club in 2013. He was linked with the club in 2019. It feels like one of those that it's bound to happen at some point. I think he'll bring a lot of good qualities to Everton Football Club. I really do. And yeah, Everton fans, in my view, be excited. Let me know your thoughts, though, in the comments. Is this appointment that you're excited for? Is there someone else that you'd rather have in mind? And if so, who? And guys, make sure to hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.